So we'll do a new drawing now. I guess this is lesson 4. General sessions.
General sessions. So not the same room that we were working on.
No, we're going to do a bigger room. We're going to start one that's, we'll go 150 by 75 feet. So this would be, I guess, Marriott, Fairmont main ballroom in Austin.
Mm-hmm.
Then we make our primary box. We center it to the workspace itself here. We make it clear. And then we extrude it. I'm going to say that this ballroom has 20-foot ceilings for fun. And then we lock it down. Keep forgetting that.
Change your line width. Unlock that bitch and change that line width. Unlock it.
Well played. You've learned well to the dark side.
I remember that laser program. You're like, well, I didn't know you could do that, right? And then I was like, oh, and then they updated it and it went back to the way it should work. I was like, oh, I'll figure out a program. So that's why I'm pretty interested in this. If I can nail this, man, this would be pretty cool.
So for this one, this is a very large general session, let's say. And we're going to do an LED wall, like the one in the shop. They don't have a really good, they've got LED tools in the video screen thing. So you can, throw a projection screen up and you can make it an LED wall, but it doesn't do curves very well. It doesn't do curves at all. So what I do is I cheat it with this one here, the blended screen tool. This is what I used to use at Disney when we were doing blended collages. We would hang white scrim, basically floor to ceiling, on a perimeter of truss, and then we would project on it and just basically turn the whole room into whatever we wanted. With the blended screen tool, and especially like say the wall that we had at ATX, this is how I cheat into curves. You go curved, and then you have the width of the stage or the curve itself, and then you have the actual amount of tiles, or the actual length of tiles to do so. So we're just going to say this is a 65-foot wall, but we're going to make the curve depth like 5 feet. And so this is how I model LED curves where we're doing large blends. You typically have to make a rear projection to clean it up. I don't put a frame on. I put a frame on it, but you get rid of the exterior border, which is this stuff here. And I'll put 6 inches on the bottom, and then I make the depth 36 inches. And what this does is it represents the floor hardware.
Ladder.
And the ladders for the back structure of a ground supported wall. If you're doing a hanging wall, first of all, we typically don't hang curves just because it's points and truss extra bullshit. But when we're doing ground support, basically the big thing I've noticed in the last couple of months is this 4-wall has actually opened up 4 different AR stages, or augmented reality stages, modeling after the Mandalorian curve, the void and stuff. And so they're pushing a lot of people more towards augmented reality staging and stuff. And so one of the things that we were tasked by the owner of AVMS, Hobie, was to do cool shit. And we have a lot of LED. And so that's what they want to do, is basically get that out more. Let's make the wall 18 feet tall. And we're going to put a picture on it. Typically when we're doing these curves and stuff, I like to do backgrounds that are relevant to the property. I know it's long-winded and bullshit, but you don't want to give a Texas property the Seattle Space Needle as a background. Meanwhile, if you give a Seattle or Washington State property a shot of Mount Rainier, they think it's the coolest fucking thing in the world. So what I've got is I've got pictures stored here. I've got this really nice one of Rainier. So we will put that in. Remember what I was saying about different files in the previous lesson?
Mm.
Now that I've got a couple of them open, the resource manager will let me actually grab things from other places and put them into this. But you also have to remember where you put shit in the first place for this drawing. So I'm grabbing the mountain scene. You see how it doesn't quite show up right, so I'm going to shift it down.
Why don't you just change the scale? Oh, I see. That looks good.
You'll see here in a minute. I'll actually make one where I scale it up and then split the image across a couple different things.
Oh, cool.
Make it into one giant image. Making multiple screens into one image. But for a basic curve screen, this is how I'll throw together and how I show them. How I show the client what we're going to do with their show. So this would basically be their upstage wall. It's got a nice little curve to it. And then they're like, well, what do I want to do with that? So then we just take the video screen tool, and we're just going to make a couple, basically picture-in-pictures with this tool. We're going to go 16:9. We'll make these a little bigger just for fun. No frame. And we're going to turn the projectors off this time. Now I'm going to steal a texture from another file for fun. It's going to ask me if I want to move it over to the document. I say yes. Oh, crap. How did I turn that window off?
So this is an LED with a projection in the front?
Well, this is, we would
Like two
basically simulate pips,
hips?
picture-in-pictures,
Oh, hips.
in an overall wall. And so normally we would just have the background of like the location, and then we could do different pips, or this could be like a Zoom window, and this could be the presentation window. and stuff within,
Nice.
either Resolume or we have Analog Way Assalons for media servers, which is basically an E2 from Analog Way and stuff. So, a lot of the shows they want us to start pushing now is going to be basically like a 60 to, the last one was 40 feet by 15 feet. We can go up to 50 feet, but they want to go bigger and basically doing just gigantic LED walls with pips of information. They're even talking about putting like hollow fans up stage center or something around truss as well for fun. But that's just basically how I show people the LED wall tool, but not having to do too much graphics. Like you can go in here and you can just not have to put these two smaller screens in, and you can make this all just a Photoshop image where you photoshopped in those screens into an overall background, which eventually, you may have to do that for pre-production for the show anyways, and start generating motion backgrounds for these larger screens and stuff. And then it's just, creating the pips in Resolume or E2 or something, whatever software is you're liking. But we were doing this with Resolume at the shop at the ATX. But that's it. Then you can add more stuff. I've gone on to such crazy things as we'll skip this. I moved some pictures around. That's not it. That's a crappy one. This is a basic general session where we were using ground supported line arrays, gray drape. We were using, projectors on towers. And so basically when I make a sales packet for a property, I'll start with generic sets like this. Do a basic 2-screen show, no center screen, and then you put the center screen in. And then you do another one where there's an LED wall where the center screen is, and then you'll do like a big stupid LED curve. And it's just to give sales options to pitch to people. Okay, yeah, this is the bread and butter that you've done every show with, but we can go to this. We can go to this, we can go to this, we can go to this. And basically we're trying to get it down into basic package numbers for people easier to digest and stuff.